Oh, shoot. Hello. Sorry, I was just doing a little spring cleaning. It's that time of year, and I'm trying to get my little, set here in gear, and so that we can have a wonderful chat today because I've got a fabulous group of guests who are going to talk about not only spring cleaning your space, but also how to spring clean your whole life. So, your body, your mind, everything. So let's get started, right? And let's talk. Oh, welcome to the Let's Talk Fabulous show. And I am Gloria Grace Rand, one of the Fab Five hosts of this show. And I am, as you can see, surrounded by a wonderful group of women. So I'm going to introduce them, or have them introduce themselves. And I'm going to go start with the woman right next to me. So I'm not even going to say what direction because I always get mixed up. When I was a kid, I used to drive my mother crazy with that too. So Cheryl, how about you introduce yourself or just say who you are and where you're coming in from?
I'm Cheryl Meyer, known as the Health Muse, and I'm in Sedona, Arizona.
All right. And next to Cheryl, we have Valerie.
Hi, I'm Valerie. I'm a trauma-informed decluttering expert, and I live in Kingston, Ontario.
All right. Excellent. And then let's see, at least on my screen down below is Noemi. Did I pronounce it right this time?
Yes, you did, Gloria. Yes, you always do. So my name is Noemi Beres, and I'm from Cyprus, Europe, and I'm an entrepreneur and I'm also a mixed media collage artist.
Excellent. And last but not least, and you're going to have to unmute your mic there, Krystal. There you go.
No problem. I am Krystal. I'm an interior designer, a feng shui master, and a clutter expert. And I am calling in from Portland, Oregon, in the United States.
All right, excellent. Well, I think we've got just about the whole world covered today, so this is good. We got North America and Europe. I love it, and I love. I love what we're going to be talking about today because I think it is. Well, at least in the northern hemisphere, let's put it that way. We are in the season of spring, and so I'm looking forward to getting things going. And I think what I'm going to do is actually kick this off with a video just to kind of set us up on the right foot, I should say. So let me go and play this.
Hi, this is Noemi Beres from Cyprus. I'm an entrepreneur, podcast booking agency owner, an artist, and a decluttering enthusiast. And I know that a clear space creates a clear mind. Whether it's your workspace, your life, your digital life, or daily routine, less clutter means more creativity, focus, and flow. So basically, spring cleaning isn't just for cleaning your home. It's the perfect time to declutter your mind too. Your space always reflects your energy. When you let go of what no longer serves you, make room for what truly matters.
I love that. So if I can figure out how to get things going here today. There we go. Oh, goodness. So talk to us a little bit more about that because I know that, I have been attempting to do some more decluttering around my space, but I'd love for you to expand a little bit more on what you talked about today there.
Sure. Thank you for this opportunity, Gloria. So I'm a huge decluttering fan, and I'm actually completing a decluttering course, and I'm just really into this topic since basically I was a little girl. I'm all into organizing and decluttering. And for me, decluttering is a therapeutic process because you let things go, but you also heal and you make space and place for new things, new ideas. So I think that's the the most beautiful about it. And for me, it's not just about throwing away your clutter, but basically to reuse, repurpose, and recycle your clutter and make art of it, because I'm an artist. So for me, it's really important not just throwing everything away, but use things wisely. And I have a few tips for today. I don't know when I can share that with you, how you can use your clutter and what you can do with it, because it doesn't mean that you have to throw your whole life away. You have to all your memories away. You have to keep things that are important and close to you, and you just have to get rid of stuff that no longer serves you and make space for new, beautiful things in your life.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, if you want to share at least one tip, and then we'll see how we kind of go around, and I'm sure there'll be more time to share some more after.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So before throwing away things that are close to your heart, make a photograph. And it doesn't have to be like an artistic photo, but just, we all have mobile phones, so cell phones. So you can just take a photo and you can make an amazing little photo album of all the things that matters to you and close to your heart, all your memories. But obviously you can't keep everything, so you can donate, declutter these things, but you can still keep the memory in, for example, in like a photography, or you can make a gratitude sketchbook. And for example, if you love journaling and you have a lot of journals and you're kind of hoarding all journals, you can tear out a couple of pages from these books, keep them, and make mixed media collage, a gratitude sketchbook of all these, bits and pieces, memories that are close to your heart.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. And because I had, when my sister passed, she had a ton of journals, and I decided I didn't want to keep them. I didn't feel right about having the energy there. But now I kind of like your idea. It's like I should have just kept a few pages out of them. Darn it. But oh well. So who else anybody else? Because I know we've got several decluttering experts here. So yeah, Valerie, I saw you with your hand up. Go ahead. Whoops, if I can get you in there. Go ahead. Oh, and you're muted. You need to unmute yourself, Valerie. Yeah, you can leave yourself on. You can leave yourself on.
Yeah, I really like the idea of the picture. And I often say with the picture, take time to write a little story about the object that you just take in photo. Because let's say it's an armoire that passed from generation to generation, or that china that came from your grandmother. So take a little time to write a sentence or two just about it. So when you do something else after, whether it's a book or a collage or a scrapbooking, you have those memories, and they also can pass from generation to generation. And I don't wish that to anybody, but if dementia comes in the life later, you still have something to read, or somebody can read to you about that object that you have a connection with.
I love that. That's a great tip. And in fact, I want to do this. Yes, make sure. And I should have said this at the beginning, today, that I hope you all have, whether you're watching live or on replay today, to make sure that you do have pencil and paper handy, because I know this is going to be one of those shows that it's going to be giving you lots of tips. And I know, the two of you now have already done so, and I know we've got more people to hear from. And in fact, Krystal, I would love for you to join this conversation a little bit, because I know, you've got something to share as well. So what would you like to add to it?
I like to listen to what your clutter has to say, and I think I don't really believe in throwing things away. Unless it's trash. Trash gets thrown away, but I feel like even just the act of decluttering can be therapeutic in how you let go. I had a client that really struggled with this at one point. Like she had a collection that she had inherited, and her mom did in fact have dementia. And so her mom was still alive, and they were going through this mourning process, but she had this giant collection that was taking over her house. And nobody else in the family wanted it, and she didn't want it either. And so we spent a lot of time like trying to figure out, and it was a collection of crystal. Her dad had always given her mom all these crystal bowls and crystal vases and all this stuff. And while she loved them, she didn't have an attachment to them, and she like really struggled with it. And we finally came up, she thought she would like donate them to the church, and then she didn't feel like that was right. And we ended up having this long conversation about what she really wanted. And what she ultimately wanted was for someone to value these pieces as much as her mom did. And so she ended up auctioning them. Like she took them to an auction and let them go that way, so that the people that got them did in fact care about them, instead of just like dumping them off on somebody who didn't want it. Like now you're just passing the buck.
Right.
And so everybody was satisfied and fulfilled with that letting go. And I think that kind of goes with what Noemi said of recycling and reusing and repurposing. Like you don't just have to throw it away. Its energy needs to go to the person who it belongs to next. And so for me, it's always all about the energy and how that is flowing and what that looks like.
Yeah, that is so good. I appreciate that so much. And I love that idea, that because I know oftentimes we'll think, well, we can donate it to, an organization or something like that. But I think that was really a good idea for her, and to be able to auction it off, because it is so important that things need to go to people who are going to value them. And we can have things for a while and we do value them, but it sometimes, life happens. Maybe we have to downsize, and then you've got to figure out what to do with all this stuff. Or your kids, your kids aren't going to want some of this stuff. I'm coming to terms with that.
Well, and I think so many people think that because you don't want it anymore and it's something you want to donate and get rid of, I think a lot of people get this thought that means I have to give it away and I'm not allowed to make money off of it. But I mean, like people have garage sales, but I mean, it doesn't have to be a 25-cent thing. Like you can actually make substantial income off of stuff and you don't have to feel guilty about it. That's the other thing, right? Like I think people just feel guilty about that whole process, and it's just consumerism. Like I think it's our whole thing. So
yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm gonna not really change gears, but I just want to highlight one of our other panelists here today, because I love what she had to share. So I'm going to play her video right now.
I call it practice the 1 minute rule. What does that mean? Let's come back to the bathroom for a minute. Just cleaning the sink is a 1 minute task. Cleaning the mirror or the toilet, or just pick some clothes to put them in the hamper, these are all 1 minute tasks. So if you see a task that will take 1 minute or less to complete, just do it immediately. Don't wait. And this will help prevent small tasks from piling up and becoming overwhelming. So when you see something that takes less than 1 minute to do, just jump and do it right now, right there.
So I thought that was so smart, not to let stuff accumulate. So talk about that a little bit more, Valerie.
Sometimes clutter is not only related to what we want to keep or not keep, but sometimes we feel overwhelmed by the daily activities that we have. And sometimes that overwhelm comes because in our brain, we have something that is called the executive functions. And sometimes the executive functions are flooded with cortisol, that is the stress hormone. And when that happens, it becomes more difficult to put things away, to sort things, to make decisions, and all of these. So basically, it's more difficult to maintain a home tidy. So I really encourage people, when they got I should do this, or, I see that class that takes 30 seconds, do it right now, instead of accumulating a long to-do list, So it's really, really important to don't wait, but don't stay in the overwhelm.
Yeah, for sure. Anybody else want to chime in on that? Yeah, go ahead. Oh, sorry, Cheryl. I'll come back to you next.
Yeah, and for me, it's like make it a ritual because you can totally enjoy the journey, the decluttering and organizing journey. You can create something special for yourself, like burn sage, light a candle, write a farewell note to the specific item, or to welcome the fresh energy. And I think it's so important to enjoy the journey. You can put on some music. It doesn't have to be stress. You don't have to feel stressed or overwhelmed, because enjoy the process, enjoy the journey. You're making you're making place for something new, so it can be fun, not just overwhelm.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I know that's the only way I can do cleaning, frankly, is if I put music on.
I'm listening to podcasts. So.
Yeah, there you go. All right, Cheryl, what did you want to say?
I like to use the 1-minute rule with my business tasks. I don't want to go through my head 19 times before I do it. I like to touch things and get them done and move on. And the more that I can do, I can move faster than almost anyone I know because I have that as a skill. I don't want to have to keep thinking about it. I want to do it. I want to get it done. I want to move on to the next important thing on my list.
Yeah, that's smart. And one other thing I wanted to mention too, and Noemi, you brought this up in your video, and actually I was having a conversation the other day too, was our digital lives. Because I know I have like way too many files on my computer that are things from like years and years ago that I'm really not even using in my business anymore. Anybody want to talk about that? Because I think that is something that we sometimes may overlook, is this digital clutter that accumulates. Who wants to go with that one?
I can go.
Okay, excellent. Go for it.
So basically, some statistic is saying that people in the average are losing 2.5 days every single years by searching digital clutter. So it's the equivalent of about 4 hours a week, if my memory is good. But the thing is, when you're waiting, I don't know, to commute on a bus or waiting a Uber, or you're on a line waiting to see the doctor, it's the perfect time to delete a little bit of the 15 photo of the exact same dog or cats, There's some that are good, there's some that are flu, there's some that are blurry. So just keep the good one and let go of the others. The other thing is, it's so important when you scan a document or take a picture of something important, rename the file. That is so, so, so important, because after that, you can search for the file. If it's just IMG 1234, it's really, really hard to find your things. And decluttering is all about keeping what matters to you. It's all about what is important. So in the digital life, before we were having document version A, B, C, D, E, F, G with a date. And now we're able to have different versions and go through history. So we don't need to save 15 copies of the same document anymore.
I had to do that because it's like, yeah, you're. I feel like you're talking to me. Yes, I don't have to keep all these things. So I appreciate that so much, and I'm gonna. Gosh, time is like going rapidly by here. So I'm gonna do this other little video I kind of put together just to give some folks, and then we're gonna change gears just a little bit after that. Yeah. So there's so much to talk about here when we're spring cleaning our lives. And I know we focus a lot on the external, or well, actually, let me rephrase that. Are the things, let's say, things that we use, things that we need every day. And I know the importance of like renaming things. I loved when you were talking about that, because I do think that um, one of the things I'll share, one tip that I do is I have created like subfolders on my computer for, like, I've got like family and friends photo, and then I also have them subdivided into mom, dad, kids, pets. So that's another way to organize, because I like to organize stuff. Um, I'm going to bring Cheryl up here, because I know she's going to, and I'm going to be showing her video in a second, but I want to go ahead and bring you up, Cheryl, to maybe even give us a little sneak peek about what your area of expertise is when it comes to spring cleaning.
What I wanted to talk about is this is the perfect time to purge all the toxins in your environment, because they're making you sick. And you may not even be aware of how many poisons are in your home, in your air, in all the things that you're using. So this is the perfect time to start systematically looking up the ingredients on your products and pitching them if they're poisoning your body. When I did that, because I got sick with an autoimmune disease, I was appalled at how many toxins I had
Excellent.
in
And
my
I'm
life.
gonna go ahead and show your video right now, because for all right. Well, I'm gonna show your video right now, and then we're gonna talk some more about that.
Hello, I'm Cheryl Meyer, otherwise known as the Health Muse. And I want to inspire you to live your healthier life. What does spring cleaning mean to me? It means finding and evicting all of the toxins in your life. So where are they? They're in all the ultra-processed food that you buy at the grocery store, all those words you don't know or can't pronounce. They are being sprayed on our crops. So if you're buying conventional fruits and vegetables, they're sprayed with poison. So I'm going to explain why it's so important where to buy organic so that you don't get those poisons in your life. They're in all your personal care products, which means they're going right through your skin and into your body. They're in all your cleaning supplies, so they're on your floors and your counters, and you're washing your clothes in them. And the most poisonous thing of everything you use are the little pots that you clean your clothes with. If a toddler was to bite into that, you might not even get him to the emergency room. And then all the scents, the perfumes and the air fresheners, they're all toxic, including the one that is to take the scents out of the air. So I want to encourage you to clean up all the poison so that you can return to your healthiest you and lead the best possible life you can.
All right. So, oh my gosh. So maybe share a couple, like what are like maybe like the one or two really most important places that we need to start looking at when it comes to cleaning up those toxins and things.
Well, they're everywhere, and so don't get overwhelmed. You cannot do it all at once, but you need to start somewhere. There's a giant database in the sky called EWG.org, and they list how poisonous all the ingredients are in your products. So you can go, and now, 13 years ago, you had to look up ingredient by ingredient. Now you can find whole products and it'll rate it, but you need to know and be aware of what you're using, because there's something called toxic load. When you go over toxic load is when you go over into inflammation and chronic illness, which includes cancer, which is near and dear to this group's heart, all the autoimmune diseases, as well as heart disease and dementia and all the other things that are going on in our body. So you need to start systematically getting rid of it all. First thing I looked up was my very expensive French makeup was a 9 on a 10-point scale. Literally, I was poisoning myself right through my skin.
Oh my
So
gosh.
that gave me the incentive to keep going. And I've learned you start at the bottom of the list, not the top, because then when you hit something poisonous, you find a replacement. You don't have to look up everything till you get to that poisonous thing. So start somewhere and then start trading out your products so that you clean up so that you can live a healthier life and you don't go into toxic load.
Mm, thank you so much for that. That's important. Anybody else want to follow up with that? Anybody have any experience even with doing that for yourself? Or yeah, go ahead, Noemi.
Yeah, I agree everything that Cheryl said. I mean, it's amazing how you can change your life, basically just changing out a few things. I started with my cosmetics, and I'm in Europe, so I found a German brand which you can basically eat. I mean, everything smells nice. It's everything like 99% nine. I think everything is just vegetables basically and fruits. So it's really nice and it's good for your skin and also cooking. Like I come from Hungary and I learned cooking from my mom. So I always cook everything from scratch and we don't really eat processed food. In my family, I'm not saying that not whole Europe is not eating processed food. Obviously we eat some things, but I think it's really important just to stick to try to find the right source. We have local farmers here in Cyprus and you can buy, they go straight, they take everything straight to the shops, to the grocery stores from the farms, and then you buy them and you can just make them from scratch. And I think it's so important how we feed our kids and what we use, what we put into our body. So for me, it was food and makeup because we use both of them a lot. So.
Yeah, and I do know I have been on my own health journey over the past few months. If you've watched me over this show, you may have noticed I've slimmed down a little bit, and that's because I'm doing exactly that. Is I have cut out the processed food, and I'm doing 99% of my own cooking, from scratch, and it's really made a difference in how I feel. Let alone that I can fit into smaller clothes now, which is always nice. Women we kind of like to do some of that, but I think it's more important. Cheryl, you mentioned the health benefit. Can you share, because you actually really had a particular health reason that you did
I got
this.
fibromyalgia and I had to clean up. I was not going to live a life of pain and pills, and my doctor had no clue what was wrong with me. So I listened to a group of functional doctors, made notes, and then started one by one. It took me 5 years to eliminate hundreds of toxins, clean up my food, feed my body health. And once you start feeling good, you're not going to give it up again. It's non-negotiable for me. I eat the right foods that feed my future health. And as a result, I've lost 80 pounds, not dieting, just eating real food. My body adjusted to that, and everything about me feels much better. So it's so worth it when you do it.
Yeah. And I think that's also the important thing too, is helping yourself feel better, because then you're not only helping yourself, but you're also setting an example for those around you, for your family and for your friends, and all of what we were talking about so far today. When we're talking about organizing photos and Krystal, when you were talking about your client dealing with finding a good home for those items of her mom's, it's all about creating a legacy and leaving a legacy. And we've been talking about that a lot on our show. And so I'm thinking that this is a good point when I'm going to actually play some wonderful song that was created for us, and then we'll talk some more about that, and then talk about maybe just in general some other ways that people can really start spring cleaning their life.
In the quiet moments, when the sun begins to rise, we find the strength within us. In the stories of our lives, not in gold or glory, but in hearts we've touched with grace, in the love we share with others, in each kind and gentle face. Your legacy is the love you leave behind, in the hands you've held and the souls you've helped to find. It's the laughter in the children, the wisdom in the old. It's the light you sparked in others, in the stories that are told. Through the trials and the triumphs, in the battles that we fight, it's the courage and the kindness that will always shine so bright. In the lessons that we teach and the dreams that we inspire, in the way we lift each other higher and higher. Your legacy is the love you leave behind, in the hands you've held and the souls you've helped to find. It's the laughter in the children, the wisdom in the old. It's the light you sparked in others, in the stories that are told. In the final song you sung, and the curtains drawing near, it's the moments filled with love that will echo year to year. In the footprints on the path that guide the lost and blind, your legacy will live on in the hearts you've left behind. Your legacy is the love you leave behind, in the hands you've held, in the souls you've helped to find. It's the laughter in the children, the wisdom in the old. It's the light you've sparked in others, in the stories that are told. So let's live with open hearts and give with all our might, for the legacy we leave is a beacon in the night, in the echoes of our actions, in the whispers of the wind. Our legacy of love is where it all begins. Our legacy of love is where it all begins.
Your legacy will live on in the hearts you've left behind.
All right. So, there's so many questions I've got, and I'm like trying to figure out where do I want to start. So I'm thinking actually, that's a good question. Where do we start? So, whether it is maybe cleaning up our space or cleaning up our minds or cleaning up our bodies, what would be, if you wanted to give, because I'm sure people out there listening to this, they're like, okay, because when you think spring cleaning, it's like, oh my gosh, it seems like such a chore. So where should someone start in any of these areas that we've been talking about today? Who wants to go first? All right.
With
Okay.
with health, start with your food, because there are so many toxins in the ultra processed food and sprayed on your conventional crops. If you can clean that up and cook so you control what's going into your body, that's a giant step forward. But start somewhere. You can keep going, but pick a place and start.
All right. Krystal, how about you? What do you think? What would you recommend someone to do?
Man, I have so many things to say right here. and I had so many things that I had kind of wanted to tie together
Okay.
from what was said.
Yeah.
Before the video, we were all talking about the cleaning products, and where I actually started was with my cleaning products.
Yeah, okay.
And because your home is a reflection of you and your energy and all of your beliefs. So by cleaning your home, it is actually an act of self-love and self-service. So I think actually where we need to start is with self-love. Like, you have to love yourself enough to care enough to do the thing. And that is to clean up your life, to clean up your space, to clean up whatever it is. It starts with love. And I think too many of us are raised with hate. Too many of us are really literally raised by parents who hate us in homes where we are hated. And so I spend the vast majority of my time working with clients on self-love and on that energy, because you are what colors the energy that flows from your space, right? Energy is universal. It's everywhere. The energy comes into your space from the universe and from the world, but you then taint it to match your color. And so if your color is the color of hate, then it doesn't matter. What's in your body, like food-wise, it doesn't matter because you're already full of hate. And so adding an apple on top of your hate does nothing. You have to start with love and with loving yourself enough to care, to get started.
I love that. Yeah. Cheryl, go ahead.
I just wrote a course because I believe self-love is the foundation for all your hopes and dreams. If you love yourself, it's not a bother to adopt healthy habits. If you love yourself, you get out of your way to find success in business or to find relationships with people who reflect the love you have for yourself. If you love yourself, you pull in abundance of all things, not just money. So it has to start with self-love. So that's the place to begin with everything. I agree.
I love that. Yeah. Go ahead, Valerie.
I will do the little black sheep here. So self-love is so important. Okay. But sometimes when people had trauma in their past, self-love is really, really hard to accomplish. And one of the reasons is that their body is flooded with the stress hormone, cortisol, and that put the brakes on their executive function. So they're stuck in their limbic system. They're not able to access in their brain the part that can make decision, that can decide, that can make the choice of self-love. So I believe that the very first step is to reduce the stress level. So then people can access their brain and start a mindset journey, a journey of self-growth where self-love can then come into play. Self-love it's fundamental. I agree with that. But I'm thinking about all my clients that have anxiety, depressed feeling, suffered from trauma. It's just not possible to start with self-love. That needs to come a little bit further down the road.
I agree with that 100% because that's exactly that's my story, in fact, is because I had to learn how to love myself, but it was through a process of healing a lot of the trauma that I had growing up, for sure. So I appreciate you sharing that, Valerie. Noemi, what else, what would you say about this?
I agree with everything what you said before me. For me, it started with art therapy. And I did courses on art therapy, positive psychology. And for me, it started on myself because I went through a lot in 2019 when I lost my dad to cancer and my grandma to an accident, and also lost my business due to, the pandemic. So it was a lot going on. So I had to start with myself, again, self-love. So I had to establish a new self-care, self-love routine when I was creating art every evening, just sitting in my bed and creating collages. So yeah, absolutely. You have to start with it. And then it took me a few years actually until I started to declutter and reorganize my life. But it started with my health. It started with starting meditating, doing regular exercise, walking daily. So it was all part of my self-love, self-care routine. And then when I get to that point that I felt so much healthier, then I started to reorganize the home we live in and started to declutter. But it always has to start with yourself.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, we go through so many things, and I do want to also share something because I've been seeing a few purple hearts come by today, so I want to play this real quick. Yeah, because we do like to honor just exactly what you were talking about, and people like we all have relatives who have gone through something, and it's good to be able to honor those we love, those who are no longer here physically, and to be able to remember them. So let's talk some more about what I would love to talk about, and because we kind of been getting into that a little bit about um, let's talk a little bit more about our mental state. So how can we be able to maybe come up with some daily practices? You mentioned meditation just now, Noemi, and that's something that I do. Are there any other things that any of you do or you recommend to help us to maintain that focus when our lives get cluttered? Yeah, go ahead, Cheryl. Cheryl, you wanted to say
I
something?
have been developing a heart math practice, which means you get quiet. You breathe for 3 minutes until your brain quiets down. That's your ego. It's going to say all kinds of stuff to you that you don't want to listen to. But you go into your heart energy, and you keep saying every time that brain comes up with something, why would you say that when this is true, not that? You go into your heart energy, and that's where gratitude, compassion, kindness, that's where they live. And then you glow with those feelings, which calms everything in your body down. And when you get through the end of that, that's when you can manifest all your hopes and dreams, because the universe will support you because you're in all the higher vibrations. And so it's listening. And so I find it incredibly peaceful to do this every morning. And I love going into the higher energies to start my day.
Yeah, I'm with you 100% on that. One thing I wanted to talk about too is we've been sharing lots of good tips of how to be able to clean things up, clean up our spaces, clean up our bodies, and the things that we put in. But let's face it, life is not always easy, and it can be stressful, and things like there's so many things on social media that sometimes can really take us out of that really heart space that we want to be in. So maybe Krystal or Valerie, do you want to comment on how can we how can we try to maintain, say, some good habits? Let's say we start, doing, practicing the 1 minute rule, for instance, or doing something where we're clearing it up. How can we do that when life, wants to throw us a curveball and it does actually throw us curveballs from time to time? Go ahead, Krystal, you want to?
Well, you started talking about social media, and it sort of touches on, I think, the one thing that we haven't talked about, and that there is such a thing as people clutter. Sometimes we have to get rid of people in our lives. The people that we talked about love, right? And the people who don't love us are, those people are clutter in our lives. Those are the ones that are preventing us from having the life that we want. They're the ones that are the voice in your ear that is preventing you from self-actualizing and all of that. So, but that really comes in our social media feeds, right? You can start slow and get rid of them just in your social media feed. And sometimes it's like a husband or a parent or a sibling. Sometimes it's just like, you gotta just,
Yeah, yes. Not your people.
Right. And I think that happens to far too many of us, is that we've been told that we have to stay in the relationship because there's some fault if we don't, right? Like getting divorced. Oh my gosh, that's such a horrible, why? We're not all meant to be in each other's lives forever. Sometimes it's just meant to be a thing. And I don't really think that a lot of us are taught about healthy relationships and how to let go of people without rage and hate and how to just let go of people cleanly and nicely and kindly, I think maybe is the word that I want. So like, it doesn't have to be about that, but yeah, that's a real quick way to clean up your social media. Well, that make you not want to be there.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And because it's also, it gets back to self-love. That's an act of self-love as well, because family members, we love them, but we don't choose our family. And sometimes they don't serve us as well as we'd like to. And sometimes you have to set boundaries. And that's what you can do on social media, set boundaries. You can create a friends list, like say on Facebook, for instance, and so that you're just looking at people who raise your vibration and light you up. And you don't have to necessarily be in that. And I love what
you have to love yourself to show up for you, even to show up for the program. Like, like I love myself enough to pay for this program, to do the work, to find self-love. Like it all starts there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, go ahead, Valerie.
I observed as well in the comment, a really good comment about thoughts. And that made me think, I want to share that we need to declutter our thoughts as well. You know, that itty shitty bitty committee sometimes going on with lots of different things that we would never say to our best friends. So we need to take a pause and say, okay, is that really true, what I'm just telling myself? Is it a fact or is it a distortion? Is it a way that I interpret a fact? Because if it's a distortion, then we need to let that go. We need to change it and rephrase it for something way more positive, way more aligned with love, respect, or other values that we may have.
Thank you definitely for pointing that out. Yeah, go ahead, Krystal. Yeah.
What Barb was saying here about what we think is what we feel. The thing is, you literally can't believe anything that your brain tells you. You're not supposed, like your brain is designed to keep you safe. So it's going to create fear situations. I call them your doom spiral, your catastrophizing. And you don't believe anything you think. Like get into your body. Your body will tell you what's true. It'll guide you a lot better than your thoughts ever do, because your thoughts are just designed to fake you out. So don't ever believe anything you think.
Absolutely, because I was going to say, if it's a critical voice, like you were saying, Valerie, then yeah, that's not who you really are. But if it's a loving voice that you're hearing, that's the one you can pay attention to, and I think that's so important. So, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. On this note, I'm a big overthinker, big overanalyzer. So like that's my middle name since I was a kid. And I want to recommend a book, which was a real game changer for me. And I just read it about 2 weeks ago, and I should have read it like 20 years ago. And it's called, Michael Singer is the author. And the title of the book is The Untethered, I hope I pronounced it right, Living. And he has another book, Untethered Soul, as well. But The Untethered Living is a must read for everyone, because it's that is all about our thoughts, that they basically can destroy our lives.
I endorse that 100%. I think I've got 3 of his books, and yeah, they are spot on. So yeah, thank you for mentioning that. Oh my gosh. Okay, so we've got just a few more minutes left here. Holy moly! So I'm going to go around one more time and have you share like one last best tip, maybe one small change in one area that people can make that's going to really make a positive impact. So I don't know, Noemi, if you want to start, or I can pick on someone else and come back to you last. But if you have an idea,
I guess it's not fun. So for me, is don't just discard, create, and make decluttering, organizing into a creative healing process, because you can keep the things that close to your heart and make them these amazing memories. So don't listen to everyone who just like throw everything away and live a minimal lifestyle with like 2 spoons, 2 forks, and 2 knives. No, that's not the real thing. You can still have an organized and amazing life while you keep your memories, things that close to your heart.
I love that. All right. Who wants to go next? All right. Go ahead, Cheryl.
Purge all the toxins, whether it's toxic relationships, toxic thoughts, toxic stress, toxic lack of sleep, toxic food, toxic products. Get rid of them. They're not doing you any good. So systematically purge them one at a time and clean up your life.
Oh, I love it. I love it. And there, I know, Cheryl, you shared that website, and I know someone put it in the comments as well. So go back up and find it. Or say it one more time. I think it was what?
EWG.org.
All right,
there are also
perfect.
some apps now, but EWG.org has a huge database. So it's a
All
great
right.
place to start.
All right. Excellent. All right. Valerie, how about you?
So for me, it is to celebrate, whether it's an happy dance or a big, yes, I did it. Celebration is so important because this is when your brain will generate good hormone that will make you feel good, that will make you really be able next time to enter that new process of either decluttering, organizing, or choosing what matters to you in your life in the now. Not the decision from 20 years ago. What is important for you right now? This is where celebration is so important.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, that is because it reinforces what you're doing, and it helps you keep that momentum going, right? Yeah. Oh,
yes.
Excellent. All right. Krystal, how about you?
Treat your space like it's your best friend. It's not just a reflection of your energy, it's an extension of your energetic field. It's you. So if you treat it like your best friend, that is how you start with self-love.
Yeah, that is so good. And I'd love to know, those of you who've been watching today, what resonated with you, and have you come up with a plan for yourself of how you're going to do that? Because I would love to go back after this is over, and I'm going to look through the comments. So I'd love to see what you had. Is there any? Oh, you know what? Because we've got like 2 minutes left. Is there any mistake, like any mistake that people could make in trying to do this? I just thought of that. Valerie, what would you say? What would be a mistake to watch out for?
Touching your belongings when you try to declutter. So when you touch your thing, there's a link between the sense of touch and the limbic system of the brain, and all the emotion and the memories and everything linked to that object are flowing to you. So please wear a pair of gloves. You will be able to declutter 40% more, make objective decisions that you won't regret, and really be able to feel good about your decluttering, feel more energized at the end of the decluttering session.
Oh, that is very cool. I love that. Anybody else like just a mistake to avoid? Yeah, go ahead, Noemi.
Just don't spend too much time on decluttering when you start first. Like only spend like 15-20 minutes like time slots, so it's not going to be too overwhelming for you, because if you just start like doing like for 8-9 hours straight, it will exhaust you, and you just can't do that. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, Krystal, go ahead.
Out of sight is not out of mind. Time and distance do not disconnect you from the energy of your relationship with your stuff. So even if you stick it in a storage unit, it's still yours, and it is still energetically cluttering you up.
Very good. How about you, Cheryl? Any other?
You don't have to be Julia Child and cook complicated meals. Just cook something. It can take 15 minutes, but it's real food, and it feeds your body health.
I love that. And there are plenty of recipes out there and plenty of cookbooks. And I'm forever Googling, healthy eating or something. And I collect recipes. And yes, they do go on my computer too. But it's all good. Oh my goodness. Thank you all so much. This has just been amazing. I hope you all have been watching today, have received a lot of value, because I know I have, and I can't wait to see what we're going to have to say on this show next week. So until next time, live a fabulous life.